All right, so let's organize our error reporting a bit better. So what I'm going to do is convert the JSON data after it's received here. So what we'll do, so here what I'll do is I'll just say let data will be equal to, let's do the JSON.parse from here. So this is how you do JSON decoding in JavaScript. In PHP, it's JSON decode. Here it's JSON.parse. In PHP, there's a JSON encode, which is this one. But the same thing in JavaScript is JSON.stringify. Anyway, so here we're supposed to, if this is valid JSON, this would be a valid object. So I can check that by saying if type of data is not, or you can say is equal to object, like that. So if it's a valid object, then let's do whatever we want. But if it's not a valid object, there's probably some errors in there. So let's do a console.log of that information, which is here. Now, you wouldn't want to do this when you are in production, not production, but what do we call that? When the website is live, probably not a good idea to console.log your errors. But for when you are checking here, this is fine. Then you can mute it when you are satisfied with the results, that things are working as intended. So if it's an object, then it means we either have errors or not. So let's check if there are any errors, then we display them. So we're going to say if how do we put this? I'm going to say if I want to know if it's not empty. So if data dot errors dot length is greater than 0, so it means there are errors there. So we're just going to have an alert and alert us to data.errors, and then dot to string. So we make it a string like that. Then we can use a full stop or a comma to separate the strings that are being sent. All right. So with that in mind, that should work. But if, let's do this, if errors is empty, then all we need to do is alert our message. So data.message, like that. All right. That is good. Now, message and errors are things we created in here when we did this. See, message, errors. That's what we are trying to achieve here. So to test this, I want to intentionally make sure that, let's say, for example, email does not exist. So I'll just give it a different name altogether. And then I'll refresh. Let's try email@email.com. Number of guests, let me leave those as they are, and then submit. So there's this alert, which is nothing. So we didn't get anything. So we got an empty page, which is not nice. So which means something is up, right? How could we get an emptiness? Let me get back here for a second. So the only way we can get emptiness is either things didn't get posted or no, this is just not possible. Okay, so if you have a problem like this and you don't know what really happened, you can just put things like echo here and then echo here 1, and then echo here 2, like that. So you put these guys here so that you know exactly what route your code is taking. So you can look at which one made it and so on. So let's see here, because it can be a bit difficult to debug this. So click again, submit. Okay, so that's a problem, which means syntax error. It couldn't parse this. Now the problem is, I guess the way we did it, it's saying all this because of this emptiness here. So maybe there wasn't really a problem here, was there? Let me go back to home here. Data object, if errors.length is greater than 0, to string. Okay, I'm going to grab this and put it there. Instead of console.log, let's just do an alert immediately. So it seems this isn't workable because this just produces an error immediately. So things don't work if I put that if statement anyway. Let me scroll down and I'll just put some random stuff. And let's try and submit. Okay, so this is what we get, right? These errors, email is required. So why am I not... so errors is an object. Errors dot email. I see. Interesting. So there's here 1 and here 3. Those are working just fine. So things are working actually because it gets to this point where the validation fails. So it's all good. I'll undo these guys. So the problem is in the JavaScript, it's not, let's see, errors.toString. So why isn't this, what's going on here? Let me do an alert here, or a console.log instead, because again, this does a better job. So let's do console.log data, like so. So I'll refresh. We are close, but not there yet. And let's submit. So that's what we get, a message that's empty and an error, email is required, rightly so. But here when I, it didn't show my console.log, so which means it didn't get here. So how come it's not a valid object? This is, let's see here, message, errors, and then there's an object in there. This looks valid, so what's going on? Okay, I'll move this here so that I figure out what's going on. Console.log data. Let's refresh again, one more time. Do not get tired of debugging your code. This should be the fun part. So don't get frustrated when your code isn't doing what you want. Let's refresh. It seems, just keep trying and try to figure it out. Eventually it will pay off. Okay, so there is the object. And so there's object inside here, there's errors and errors. Okay, so errors seems does not have a length parameter. That's why, because it's an object of this type. So, interesting. So, okay, what we would do is, problem is we don't know what errors will come here. So let me grab this and put it here. I want to see what it returns there. If the length is a valid thing to ask for. So let me click there. There it is. There it is. So it's undefined. So that's where the problem is. It doesn't know what length is. So why though? I thought all objects had this length thing, but it seems not. Okay, what we would do is, for a simple way to understand, let me do this. Info, let's put one more param here, which will be success. Let's call it success, right? Let's start with success being false here. And then let's later change it to true if things are validated like this. Let's just do success is equal to true. Okay. This will make things very easy on the other side to check simply for if success, right? So if data success, like here, yeah, then that and that. So let's swap these, or we can just put an exclamation point there, and let's do that. Okay, so this is okay. This is all good. Great. So let's try this again. Refresh. Let's put a name. Let's put an email, a fake message, and submit. So it shows me an object, which means it's still an error, but yep. So data.errors.toString, data.message. What is going on? Let me get back here. Let's see. Data. What is going on? These things are direct like that. Errors. Oh, because errors is another object here. But I thought the toString would convert it to a string, but it doesn't seem like that's happening. Okay, so let me do a loop instead. Okay, instead of this alert here, let's do a loop. We're going to say for key in data dot errors. Okay, so each time we loop through here, let's one of a specific error. So we just say data errors, and then let's use that key there, like so. Okay, let's see if that helps. Let me refresh, and let's try this out again. One more time. Bam. Okay, an email is required. Great. So if we had some other thing missing, like message and so on, it would give you a link, it would give you an alert for each one of those. So let's just make sure that's what's happening as well by changing the message part here. Let's put a 2 there as well, just so we make sure it does not exist. Let's do that, put an email, a message, and submit. So an email is required, okay, and then a message is required, okay. All right, otherwise, if everything is good, we should get a message saying, thank you for your message. Let's try that. Let's refresh. So here I'll put John Doe. My email is john@email.com. I'm attending wedding party, and then here my message is I'll be there. Then submit. Thank you for your message, and then okay. Now this doesn't refresh the page, so instead let's tell it to, this is up to you what you want to do here. Once everything is successful, like here, what we'll do is we say window dot location dot href. Actually, dot reload is better. Let's do that. Okay. So let's refresh the page. Another message, and then submit. Thank you for your message. And then the window reloads like that. All right, very cool. Now, once we have that, now we have several items in the database, as you can see, which we can show here on RSVP. So let's go to the admin section here, and let's copy the about, since that's the last thing we did, and Ctrl+Shift+D. And this function now should be changed to RSVP. So let me change all instances of the about to RSVP. Make sure you're not going to the next function, RSVP. Same with the model, let's change that as well. All right, otherwise everything looks great. So let's now refresh. Oops, it says view not found. Okay, so let's go to the about.view, copy everything, back, admin, new file, paste, save. Instead of about, now we save as rsvp.view.php and refresh, and there we go. Very nice. Now let's match what we want to see, what the columns are. So there's name, email, attending, and the message that you are sending. So down here on RSVP, there's an ID. There's no image, so let's remove this guy. Here we have name. Oh, name is already here, right? Let's have email, and then let's have whether this person is attending or not. Let's see. Attending, and number of guests, which is guests, like that. And then message, finally. And then list order. Now there's no edit on this thing, so let's remove the edit button. Delete, we can leave. And then let's make sure everything here is in the same order. So full names, email, and what is the, what do we call this though? What is it called? I'm attending. We'll just call it attending. It's up to you what you want to call these things. Number of guests. And then the message, finally. List order, action, let's leave that there. So I'm going to refresh. So full names, attending, I'm attending. Number of guests, message, and then we can delete. So let's fix other things here as well, like the title. About should change to RSVP. All right. Instead of gallery, maybe list. What else? We can create a new RSVP, so let's remove that button. And what else? Let's check this out. All right, this is good. This is good. Let's look at all the redirects. Instead of about, there's admin/about. Let's change all that to admin/RSVP. All right, that's good. Let's now try to click on delete. Are you sure you want to delete this record? Here on the delete though, we have edit. We have edit as well, but edit is not a thing. So we can delete this if statement for the edit because we are not going to be editing anything. We will delete. We're also not going to be adding a new one, so we can remove this as well. Now we can remove the else here and just leave it as if delete, and then everything else goes down there. So delete the record, that's fine. We don't need an image here, so let's remove that. Here, maybe there's a name. Duplicate this. There's email. And then finally duplicate, and there's a message. Okay, that should do it. So let's come back and refresh. There we go. So are you sure you want to delete this and their message? Yes or no? Click here, back. Very nice. So this is for you to just read and see who has confirmed attendance. So to make sure that the delete works, let's go back to our admin controller. So there's RSVP here. We will not be creating a new one because we are using the AJAX site to do that. So I'm going to remove this if statement here. We won't be editing either, so I'll remove this edit part as well. Delete is right there, and that should be enough. And then there's no file in image, so let's remove that. It checks for a file, but the delete will work just fine. All right, so this is quite shorter than the others. So let's try and delete record number 1. So I'm just going to click delete and then delete, and you see it's gone. All right, so everything is working as intended. So you can create the event thing. Let me click on event. This part, try and make it for yourself, which is here, to use the same methods that we've used so far. It can't be that hard. Everything else is working. About, story, we have users, we have the about, we have story, we have gallery, family, RSVP, contacts, yeah. This is similar to what we want to do with settings. So let's do settings as well. We should have done the same thing, I guess, but no matter, we've already done it. So let's try and make a settings page. So if I click on settings, because I want us to be able to save this information, like the image we put back here should be part of the settings, right? Then you can put other things as well as you wish. There's also Jack and Rose here, so I should replace that with app data as well. So let's go back to our home page. Let's look for Jack and Rose again. I think it's this one right here, the one that has a different color over there, but we can't afford to do this. So all we need to do is just do app name like that. That way we don't see Jack and Rose anymore on the menu. Oh, look at that, it's still there. Okay, no matter. We will, let me try and find all instances of Jack and Rose. Okay, so there are 2 of them. So let me grab this. Let me put this one here as well. All right, so refresh. Okay, so there we go. That's much better. The menu is reflecting what we are doing. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, very cool. So what we'll do for now is fix this section right here. And yeah, let's just deal with the image for now. So let me close all files. Let's close all files. and we can start again. So of course, since the settings table is a new table, we're going to have to make another table for that. So I'm going to copy a model. Sorry, I meant we have to make a model. Let me copy one model that has both image and text, like this one right here. So maybe about, okay, let's try family. It's much smaller. So I'm going to copy all of this, new model, save this. This one will be the settings underscore model.php. So let's change every instance of family to settings. And maybe let's put singular, and let's rename the file setting model. Then here, settings will be the table name. Let's go down here and do the same thing. Settings. Very nice. Now, in order for settings to work, we need to have the setting itself and its value. That's it, really. The column, one column for what type of setting it is, the other one for the value. That's it. So if, let's say, for example, the setting is BG image and then the value of the background image. The setting could be, is the user allowed to log in? The value could be yes or no. So just those two things are enough to make a settings table. So some of them will be images, so this is going to be fine. Now, validation on this one will be a bit difficult, but I think the image itself, we just need to make sure that there is a setting and a value. Let's say a setting is required. And then a value is required. Let's see if these are useful at all. So from here, I can say setting. Let's put this at 255. And then duplicate that and put value at 255 as well. So a setting and its value, and that's about it. All right. Very cool. Files will leave there, data will leave there. Now, it's possible any of these may be empty, so let's just do empty like that. I don't know if this is a good idea at all, but no, let me leave it as it is. Okay, very cool. Now, since we have a setting model, we can actually create a page of some kind. Okay. So let's grab the family in the admin section, right? Let's duplicate the same family function. So I'm going to grab this, Ctrl-Shift-D, and let's change every instance of family to setting. All right. Always make sure you don't go to the other page, the other function, sorry. All right, very cool. Okay. So this is going to be a little bit different. So in here, what we'll be doing is we'll be checking if a setting exists. If it does not, then we create a new one. If it does exist, we update the existing version. Okay. So let me go to the list here of settings, right? Wait. Okay, setting ends here. Let's go to blah blah blah. Actually, maybe we need type here. This will help us to understand what's going on. So let's put type there. So that we know how to display each type. Type may be smaller, maybe 50 values, like so. Okay, great. So now let's show our, where is this? Family, right? Let me copy everything. Create a new, paste, save. And then instead of family view, it's a setting view. Singular, I guess. Let's try and refresh. Okay, so this one should look for settings with an S. So let me rename this settings. Let's go to the admin section. The page name, we should have an S. And the same thing here, this one should have an S. So let's refresh, and there we go. Okay, so let's now change our code to match. So here, this one will be the setting model. And what next? Let's leave everything as intact as it is. And let's refresh. Okay, so the table settings does not exist. So what we need to do, as usual, is right here, after you create the settings model, just say create table. This should do the trick. Okay, so it says you have an error in your SQL. So the table create SQL is giving us a problem. So let's go to our model. So what seems to be a problem? It's the comma at the end here. Okay. Very nice. So we have that. Now we can remove it from here. Very nice. Then let's go to the view page itself. So in here, on the view, we don't want an image, but this really depends. Okay. So let's say, for example, let's put this at the top. This will be the setting itself. And then let's put this as value. The rest is not important. Edit and delete are required. Let's edit every instance of family, admin family to admin settings with an S at the end. Family member, let's change all that to setting. Okay, great. We are doing great. So here there's a setting, then there's a type of setting, and then there's a value. Let's remove image from there. All right. Now the thing is, depending on the type, if the type is an image, then let's show this one. If it's not, let's show, or if it's an image, let's show this one. If not, let's show this one. But both need to have value there, like so. So what I'll do is I'm just going to put an if statement here and say if row type is equal to image, then let's show this one. Otherwise, anything else, let's just show the actual value, shall we? And then let me do this. Copy and paste it here. What have I done? And if like that. Okay, so we need a closure here. Okay, there we go. Very cool. So we have setting, we have type as well, and then we have the value. Yep, that should do it. So let's refresh. Setting gallery is not required at this point, so let's delete all instances of gallery. Here it's just settings. Okay, so there should be a setting you can create and the type of setting and then its value. Okay, so right here, let's do this. Let's say when creating a new setting, right, we're just gonna click new. So if the value is an image, you put an image here. Wait, what to do here? This is getting a little bit confusing, but not to worry. So there's an image here, right? This is interesting for a few reasons. What we would do is this. When starting, we create, when creating a setting, first of all, we deal with just the setting name, the setting itself. Let me remove this. Setting name. And then we won't put a value just yet. We'll just put a type. Okay, so here we'll say setting type. Now, setting type should only be a select. That way we limit how much can be put here. So we say option. What is the setting type? Maybe it's text, or maybe it's an image. I think those are just the two. Or maybe it's a number, right? Like that. So then let's put some values here. Let's start with text, image, or number. All right, and still, let's put, we actually never designed this old value thing for a select, but it's easy to, not so hard to do, but we've already wasted so much time. Let me do this. Yeah, we may need to create it. So what I'll do, this is new. We don't need to put the old. We'll call it old select. It's like the one that creates an old value, but for select buttons. And then I'll put this here. Let's do type. Yeah, I'll grab this and put it here. Copy that. Put it here. Put it here. So what this should do, the old select, is if the value is the same, it should echo out selected here instead. Then let's put a default value here, which the first one is text, the next one is image, and the other one is number. So this function does not exist. We will have to create it. So we'll do that shortly. I'm just preempting what would be the input and output already. So let's remove list order and the rest of these guys. We don't need them, like so. Okay, great. Now let's create that old select function. So if I go to function, there's old value, we can pick something from there. The way this one will work, there's a key, and then there should be a value, and then yeah, there's default as well. So now, if not empty, we need more of this now. If the key is not empty, here we'll return just the emptiness, like so, if nothing happens. Now, if the key is not empty, and then at the same time, and this key itself, the value is equal to this value, then we return the word selected. Let's leave some spaces just in case. Otherwise, we just return that. Okay, but if there's a default value, and it turns out the key and the default, this value and the default value are the same, then we do the select thingy as well. So I'll duplicate this. So I'll replace default with this key right there. And then this one as well. Very nice. Okay, that should do the trick. Now let's refresh and see what happens. Okay, cannot redeclare old value. That's my bad because I didn't change it to old select. Wait, it should be old select, not old selected. All right, that's cool. Let's refresh, and there we go. So, click to add image should not be there. Let me remove that. I'll replace it with maybe a break tag. All right. So the setting name and the setting type. Now, instead of form control, this should be form select, so that it has like a drop down here, and there we go. So what type of setting will it be? So I want to make a setting, and this one will be, I can call it anything, BG image, for example, and the type is going to be image. Okay, let's look at what settings we can add. Let's say I don't know what settings you can add. Everything here can be put in a setting, like designed by can be a setting. So let's try that. Let's say designed by, and then it's a type of text, and then let's save. So it says an image is required, a value is required. Okay, why isn't value there though? Oh, right. Value is not always required. Image is not always. Okay, so let's go back to the setting model. Value is not always required. It's only required if we don't have an ID. Then, no, actually, if we have an ID, so in here. So I'm just going to grab all of this and put it here, because this is the part that happens only when we are editing. Okay, great. But a setting is always required. A type is always required. Do I need that as well? Let me copy this. When there's no ID, wait a minute. When there's no ID, it means we are creating. So I want to put type here to show that type is required. The type is required. All right. But with the image though, it's not a must. Image is required. So what I'll do is I'll just check if the image exists and then do something with it. Otherwise, there's no need. Now, I know for a fact that when we are first creating the thing, which is when the ID is not there, I know for a fact that we will not be uploading any images. So I'll remove this from here. All right, so let's see how that fares. And it redirected me to the wrong place again. So it's in the admin section here, admin setting, all these redirects. So instead of setting, it should be settings. So all right, so that's great. Let's just click to go back there. So we have a setting here. The type is text, and let's click edit here. So I'll click edit. Now things are more interesting. So if I go back to settings view, and this is new setting, right? But I want, let me grab this up to here. So on the edits, we don't need any of this. I'll leave this image thingy here, but the rest of this should be like so. So let me remove one of these break tags and this one here, too many break tags. So let's try and edit. So there's a setting name and the type of setting. So the type should never be edited. Once you create, you create. So we don't edit the setting type, right? So let's remove this part right here. Instead, we will want to add a value of some kind. So I'll put value like this, setting value. Now the thing is, if the value is an image, then we want to show this. If the type is an image, so what I would do is, let's see here. I want to grab all of this and move it. Let me move it properly. I'll select from here. Shift Control down arrow key to move past the value point here. And let me move this guy up here, maybe here. Okay. So what I want to do here is ask the question, if row type is equal to image. This is the only time we should care. Let me put PHP here. When it's an image, right? So if the value is an image, we'll do something else. So actually this should go down here. All right. Let me push these guys in. Then let's put, of course, an else thing here. All right. And then let's put end if. Very nice. So if the thing is an image, all of this should be part of the top side. But if it's not an image, then it's just a normal value. We'll put that. So for now, if you look at this, this setting is text type, right? So setting and then setting value. So pretty straightforward. So I'll remove this break tag. I don't think we need it. So you can change the setting name if you want and the setting value as well. But let's put old values here. So I'm just going to say row setting and row value. Same thing here. Instead of image, we're going to have value. Same thing here, we're going to have value. Okay, great. So it's no longer image. No, actually, I'll leave it at image like that. Great, great. So let's come back here and refresh. All right. Actually, in the setting model, value should never be required. So let's just remove that. It can be an empty value, so no need for that. Let me refresh. So designed by, and then let's put a name there. And then let's save. So at least now you see it has a value. Designed by has a value. This is good. If I click delete, here all we need to do is add, let me come back here. Let's see which one was better. There's one that had some text and an image. Let's try about. If I try to delete, yeah, I think we can copy from there. So let's come back to settings. So let's go to about. Oh wait, about view. Let's look at the delete part and copy what's there. So I just want this div right here. Copy. Let me come back to settings view. I want the delete part, which is this one, and I'll remove this part and put that instead. So this one will have setting, and then Ctrl+Shift+D. This one will have value. Great. So that when we are asking, do you want to delete? And then we can show that. But if for some reason the delete is an image, actually, so I don't know why I deleted, I shouldn't have deleted this. Let me copy that and then redo. And let me paste that here. So we can just put an if statement like we did over here. So I'll copy this, come down to this part. If it's an image, we'll show this. If it's not, we will show this. So let me grab my end if, put it here. Let me put another here and change it to an else. Very cool. Let me move this and that. So let's refresh and nothing. So if you want to delete this, you can. But let's add another one. So we're just going to say home BG, or what do we call this? Slider BG. So that's the, or slider image, I guess. Or hero image. Maybe let's do that. Say hero image. Doesn't really matter. This one is an image, so let's save that. Okay, so designed by, that's a setting. Hero image, that's the setting. So now it's an empty image, so we can now click edit and look at that. Now we can add an actual image for the background. So let's see here what image may be nice. Let's try this one. Okay, any image will do. Now when we save this, we have to know what will happen. So let's go to the setting model. Here is going to ensure that the image is of the quality we want, or the type we want. If we come back to the admin section, let's go to the edit. So here at this point, keep in mind this is in the edit section of the settings. So edit section. So everything else remains the same. The only thing is, when the image is the value, we just need to change this to reflect as, instead of image, but as value. So let's do value like so. Same thing will have to occur here to delete the old image, right? And update, and everything is good. Look at that, very cool. So let's see if we, once we save here, we will have that. And as you can see, we have an image now. This one is a text type. So if I click edit, it will ask me to edit here. Look at that. So it's editable. And here as well, look at that. If I click, we can add a different cover image. Let's open this one and then let's save. Look at that. So now we have saved settings properly, edit, and we can as well delete them. Now what we want is to be able to look at the setting name and then grab that setting from whenever we need to check what the settings are. So for example, this designed by, I want this to show right at the bottom here. So designed by, I want to replace that guy. So let's copy this. So what I want to do is if I go to home page, where is the home view? Right, yeah. Let me find this designed by, which is right there. Okay. Now I want to, this is fine, this is fine. Maybe you can remove the href here, but I want the text in here though. So what I want to do is I want to put this from setting, right? Now this one presents a little bit of a problem. Okay, now because of the nature of settings, that's what I need to explain here. You see the setting name has a space there, so I can't really use the arrow notation here, right? I can't use that. So what we need to do is, let me go to here. It would be better to read this as an array instead. But let's see how things can come back before I do anything. So let me undo this. I'm going to go to the home controller. Let's simply read what's here and see how it handles that situation, because I don't actually know. So for settings, we're going to find out together. So I'm going to put setting model. So let's change everything here to setting. So the order doesn't really matter, the limit doesn't matter. Maybe limit 100. You never know how many settings may be there. The listing doesn't matter, the order type doesn't matter. Here I want to do settings, right? So what I want to do is show what's inside the result of this. I really want to see this. Then let's do die, so we can see clearly. And if I refresh, this is what I get. So it's an object. Oh, okay. So it has setting, and there we go. Okay. So it's not really a big deal here. It's not. You know what we can do though? Because the problem here is every line is setting. Now, if I want to grab just this setting right here, I won't be able to get it from this. So what we would do is this. Let's do one thing better. I'm going to cut this, right? And then what I would do is wait a minute. Actually, this can work just fine. So what I would do is, let me look through here, these settings, right? So let's do this. We say, let me duplicate this. I'll say if settings like that, which means everything came back. There were results that came back. I want to create a variable called settings like that and set it to an empty array. Then I'll grab this and loop through here. So I'll say for each data setting as setting like that. And then here I'll do this. Actually, I'll put it with, I'll set it up with data instead. So I'll do this, we'll say data, because we want to send it to the view side. Okay, so same thing here, data, settings, blah, blah, blah. Aha. So now, I want to set up a key value pair system. So here there's a data settings as setting. Now this is a setting row, which is one of these. So what I want to end up with is this to be the key and this to be the value. Okay, so that's a key and that's a value. We don't care about the type at this point. So let's just grab those two things. So the key here will be setting row setting like this, right? And then the value will be setting row value. Like that. Now, if I were to show you what happened in the end, is this. So if I now refresh, that's where we have to put die at the end here, die. Let's refresh. This is what I end up with. You see, hero image is equal to that, designed by is equal to that. So this is easier to grab the settings like that. Okay, so let's undo this. Now if I go to the home page, let me redo. We went to the designed by section. So this one will be settings designed by. Now it's possible this setting would be deleted at some point. So what we'll do is we'll put 2 question marks to say if it does not exist, echo this instead. Unknown, right? So let's come back here and let's now refresh. So this will show us, you see, this is designed by now. So if I want to change this setting, all I need to do is go to settings here and edit the designed by to something else, maybe Jones instead, and save, right? So if I come back and refresh, you see now it's Jones. So this is how you can save colors, you know. You can extend this. Maybe you want to be saving settings that are colors, I don't know, whatever it is, all kinds of inputs. You can set that up so that you have settings to use over here. So for example, if I want to add another setting, maybe I want to change this title to a setting instead, right? Or this one. I can easily do that by just saying website. I create a new setting and say home, I don't know, website title. It's text, so let's save. Let's edit it and say my new title and save that, right? So all I need to do now is to know what the setting name is. So I'll copy that and then, oh no, let me just grab this. Let's go up here to the title itself, wherever we're using app name, which is right here. Is it? Let me find all instances of this. I think it's right here. So I'll replace this app name with this. Oops, what have I done? There we go. Now instead of designed by, I can put website title instead, right? So here I'll grab this. And just like that, now I have changed the title here Oops, something missing. Yeah, website title unknown. Okay, that's because we added this in the middle of some more of these, so we doubled these up. Sorry about that. Great, let's save, come back, refresh. So it seems that's the wrong. Let me copy this. Let's go to wherever we used app name again. Let's go. So there's app name here as well in several places. So let me replace this with that. Let's refresh, and you see my new title. So now I can edit this. Our lovely wedding day, and save. So now that's a new setting. Look at that. Okay, let's edit that to my wedding day or our wedding day. All right, so this is how you can make settings for everything. So let's look at this big background here. We do have one there. So it's called hero image, right? So let me come back here. All you have to do is grab this, and let's look for the image itself. This is one of those images, right here. So I'll do this and say get image, close that, and then put that right there. Now it's possible also this may not exist, so let's put 2 question marks and put 2 empties like that. So instead of that, it's called hero image. That's the setting name. And as you can see, just like that, we are able to change that image. Yeah, so I can click edit to change it as simply as this. Let's put another one. I do like this one, or maybe this one. Let's try that, and let's save. Look at that, right? Very, very nice. Let's click edit again. So as you can see, it's very easy to do. From now on, we can create as many settings as we want and add as many things as we want to this, right? So anything here, even this text right there, if you want to be able to edit this, just add it to settings, and then you can give it a setting name, and etc, etc. You can do that with these as well if you want. Same thing. All right, so I really hope you have learned something from all of this. Here it's showing hi, but without a name. That's because I think I'm not logged in properly. So let me sign out. Let's go to login. Okay, much better. All right, so if for some reason you want this section to show you, this is the dashboard, to show you how many users there are, how many of these about sections, blah blah blah. It's a very simple thing to do. Let's try and do that. So let's do dashboard. Let me create a dashboard page. So here what we can do is let's go to the admin main controller. All right, I'm going to close all these files just so you can see better what's going on. We won't need any models here or the core. So admin controller. So the index is the dashboard page, right? So right here you can do all the controlling that you want. So for example, we have the user thingy here. Now, don't forget that you can always use the query function directly. So here say total users is equal to, let's use user, and let's run query like that. Now, when you're running the query function, you can use any model because now it's no longer specific to each table. You can specify the table in the query. So here we can just say select all from users to know how many users there are. However, if you put count like this, then it will count for you. The only problem is the column name will be named this. So what you can do is you can give it an alias and say as total, like that. So select count from total as total from users. That's it. So this will contain the total number of users. Let's see that by doing show right there, total users. Let's see what we get. So if I now refresh, I can't really see the number. So let's put die as always. So this is what I get. Look at that. It's in a column named total and the number is 2. So all we need to do is grab that and we are good, right? So total users, that's great. What I'll do is I'll grab this and I can now go to the dashboard view itself, which is this one. And instead of just saying dashboard, let's do all right. So here what I can do now is put a card, right? So you can design a card as you wish. So I'll make a div, put a few classes like a shadow and column. I want this to be column MD in the medium. Bootstrap has 12 columns, so I want this to occupy only 3 of those, so which means there'll be 4 of these. Let me actually put 4 so that there are 3 of these on one row. And then here I'm going to also say, let me try and put a slight border that is rounded. Also, I will put a parent div, which will have a class of row. And let's move this down here. All right, so with that, let's also give it a margin, a large margin like this, and maybe some padding as well. And then let me put h1 here and say users. Then at the top here, I want to put a font awesome icon. So I'll do class. I want this font size to be 1. And then FA, font awesome, user. Let's see what we get with that. I'll refresh, take it back. This is what I get. Look at that. Now, if you want to know what icons to use for everything, just Google font awesome, and there are all the names for the icons are there. So only thing I need here is to center the text center. So maybe 4 is too much. Let me put 3 there. And there we go. Look at that. Very nice. I want maybe a background that is light, not white, but very light gray. And there we go. So it's up to you how you want to design this. Maybe that wasn't such a good idea. Then we can put some more here. So as you can see, there's users, and then we can have a number down here. So the number, let me do this, and then let me put maybe h3. Let's see, h3 is like this one, so that's fine with me. And then let's not forget we have total users over here, and I'll put that here. total. Let's put that equal sign over here. Okay, so it's that simple. Let me refresh. Okay, it doesn't know what total users is. That's because we should have put it on data instead. We should put it in an array to send to the view file. Attempt to read property total on array. Okay, so what's happening? Right. So the problem with our I think I have another function. Let me check this out. Inside core model, no, actually inside database, there's query, but there's one to get one. It's get row. Okay, so that's the one I should have used here. Get row. All right. Very good. So that's the number of users. So let's say maybe number of gallery images, right? Same thing. Total, I don't know, images. You can call it whatever you want. So select all as total from. You just change the table name here. Gallery, and that's it. So now total images is part of the system. So if I come here, I'll say gallery images, and instead of this one, it will be images as the icon. I know for a fact that's one of the icon names, and then total images. So that's how many gallery images are there. Maybe this is overkill, so let's put h2 here instead. So you can design these as you wish. You can even link them to actual pages if you want, by just putting their links there. But this is how you do it. And if, for example, you want to change the coloring of these icons, you can easily say text primary, for example. Primary, secondary, warning, and look at that. Yeah, that's how you do it. So you want to know how many have done RSVP? Exactly the same thing. So let me just duplicate and show you just one last one. So RSVP count total RSVP, and here I think there's one called envelope, if I'm not mistaken. Let me duplicate that. Let's do RSVP. Same thing here from RSVP as a table name. Right. So total RSVP, unknown variable RSVP. What's going on? Yeah, I had put an S there. Sorry about that. Look at that. So this counts in real time. So if you add, you see there are two only here. So 2 users as well. Gallery images, how many are they? 1, 2, 3, 4. That shows up there. All right, so hopefully this has taught you 1 or 2 things you need to know. I bet you've picked up a few skills from this, because I don't think you can watch all of this and not pick up anything, right? So if you have any questions, of course, leave them in the comments, then I will get back to you if possible. All right, so until another tutorial, I will see you in the next one.